Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all doing great, as I always say. And just before we jump into this video, I want to give you a little update. As I said, I'm recovering from COVID, and you can probably tell in my voice that I still have the sinuses from it. But over the last couple days, I've been feeling more normal. Not quite normal, but more energy and stuff. So I thought, what better way to do that than to finish the video that was supposed to come out this week anyways. And I'd also like to thank everybody who sent emails, who commented on my community post or whatever it's called, saying to get well, words of encouragement and all that stuff. It was really nice to hear from everybody, and it really did help me push through and just try to get better. But it's I still sleep a lot. I still get tired really easily. So, here we are. I'm slowly recovering from it. Anyways, that's enough of that. Pull up a stump and let's jump into the video. Thank you for watching. My dad told me this story from his brief stint in Kuwait. He was working 12 to 14 hours a day, every day. He was sleeping about 5 hours a night at most, often less than that. He relies on his ability to fall asleep at the drop of a hat, but he starts getting these terrible nightmares about tornadoes every night. For some reason, they wake him up in a panic every time, so he's obviously losing sleep. He struggles to get going in the mornings, and his work is beginning to suffer. At the time, my dad had this maid there. She speaks a little English and tells my dad that there's something in the blanket that he's using that's keeping him awake. Apparently, Dad bought a blanket off this man in the street. This guy looked pitiful, and Dad wanted to give him some money. The maid tells my dad that the man who sold him the blanket is some sort of witch. He's pretty skeptical, obviously, but the maid says that she'll take the blanket outside, so she does, and she hangs it up on this clothesline. And then she beats the blanket with a large stick while chanting some random things in Nepali. Afterward, the nightmares totally stop. It's really weird. So I don't really believe in the paranormal, but I do enjoy seeing stories and hearing stories of people, and I never cared enough to go out hunting in the woods for cryptids even as a joke. But that being said, I had one hunting incident that absolutely did feel paranormal. So I was out hunting in the backwoods of Maine. I say hunting because I was out there for fun, not really anything else. I didn't even really hunt. I mostly just chilled in the woods and wandered around. I might shoot a rabbit, if anything. I was equipped with a handgun and a Heg Uberti Henry rifle, because yes, I am exactly that kind of dumbass. I'm only out for 3 days this time. I'm already on the third day. I haven't been drinking since I'm going to be driving home overnight, which is about 5 hours or so. And I wanted to leave right at midnight since that's been my tradition whenever I'm done hunting. So I want to eat the rabbit I shot before I go, obviously. So I end the day at 1800, and it's only a 2-hour walk from my car. So I set up my camp, I guess you could call it. There was a small fire to cook the rabbit, there was a blanket for me, and that's about it. So I'm cooking the rabbit, and I just listen to an audiobook and just enjoy the night. It sounds kind of cliche, but this is when things got a little weird. A rabbit comes up to the fire, and then a second rabbit comes up to the fire, and then a mouse comes over. And keep in mind, my camp had A, a human, B, a fire, and C, the extra sound from the audiobook. There wasn't really a chance that any animal wouldn't stay away from that. And then another rabbit comes up, 2 more mice, and I'm seriously weirded out at this point. They don't come close to me, but they stay by the shine of the fire. And then a fox comes up to the fire and does the same. Doesn't attack the rabbits, the mice, and just ignores me and everything else. It just stays on its hind legs, with its ears pinned back by the fire. And then I heard some rustling in the trees around. It was very obviously something big. I'm still more just weirded out than I am afraid, despite being a massive scaredy cat, and I have no idea why. I absolutely don't want anything bigger than a fox trying to chill with me, nonetheless. The animals ignore me completely now, the same with each other, and they just start looking at the trees and they're following the rustling, and it's just really weird. Now, in case this is a human, I call out, but there's no reply. And I think, okay, enough is enough. So I take out my gun and I fire off a warning shot. I just fired into the air because I don't want to actually hit something that might get angry instead of dead, especially with a 22. The circling in the bushes stops after this. All the animals watch the same spot, and I do too. The rustling comes back, but it seems to be further off, like it's leaving. So I change guns, and I wait around about 20 minutes with my new animal pals before they start leaving the campfire as well. And then after this, the rabbits and the foxes start acting like they should have all the time, and they're kind of just going off in their directions. I pack up and leave, and I make the way to my car as fast as possible, and I drive home without stopping, and I never go back there. I still don't really believe in like a lot of stuff in the paranormal, but I'm way more inclined to do so now. I have no idea what could have gotten the other animals to behave like that and come up to a human with fire and sounds for what I can only guess would be some kind of protection. So my friend had a sick dog a while ago. The dog sleeps outside usually, not in the actual garden, but on a roofed area outdoors. She gets up in the middle of the night to check on the sick dog. She said that she heard like a low volume music type of thing. As she approaches the gate to the door, she sees something weird moving about. The dogs start freaking out and barking at the thing. The thing looks like a 12-inch little pink-skinned naked man. The little man has a flute or some other instrument. The little man realizes that he's blown his cover and starts running. My friend goes outside because she was looking through the window. She managed to get an actual good look at the thing, so she started chasing it along with the barking dog. The pug is fat and up too, so it's no real help, and the little man hides behind the patio table leg. As my friend tries to get it, the thing runs away into the actual garden. Now my friend is one of the rich people, so the garden is super big and grassy, so she has no chance of finding it, and it kind of left at that point. And she always likes to tell this story. She is sure that it's an ALUX because of local folklore. She still claims that every now and then, sometimes she'll hear flute songs and see or hear pebbles being thrown sometimes. I think that some other friends have had more ALUX stories, so I'll give you an update. I texted my friend to get some details on this one. The story is actually pretty similar, which makes me think that maybe these things like to screw with dogs for some reason. So this was a different friend who also had a sick dog. The dog is really weak, always tired and stuff, and is chilling in his bed. The friend is on his phone, as we usually are these days, and then suddenly the dog gets up and perks. It stares at the chair in the dining room through the open door. My friend looks at the dog and he's kind of weirded out because of how it's staring. And the dog was already real weak and tired, so this was out of character. The dog stays with his gaze fixed on the chair. The dog's ears perk up, so my friend goes and looks at the chair. And there is a little dark humanoid creature about 10 centimeters tall that runs from the chair leg to the table leg. My friend freezes. He sees the humanoid figure run away, but he ends up thinking that he's just sleep deprived and probably seen things. But he goes into the kitchen to investigate anyways, and sees that there's guavas missing from the fruit basket. Over the next couple of days, his dog stays staring at the same chair, guarding it. I'm a bit skeptical about that one because it sounds like it could be a rat, But he claims that it was humanoid, and apparently when you take down a construction, like in his house they had recently taken down a wall, it said that when you do this, that aluxes can appear, so I don't really know. Apparently when I was pretty young, and I was just learning how to talk well, I did this. So a song came on the radio, and my dad is a bit of a music buff who knows most 60s to 90s music by name and history. He thinks of how he hasn't heard this song in over a decade, and they never play it anywhere on any radio station. And I say out loud, "This is my favorite song." And my dad looks at me, "Where have you heard this?" I said, "Apparently, I listen to it in my car all the time." My dad's weirded out, and apparently I looked down and paused, and then I said, "Oh wait, that's when I was somebody else." So this happened in 2002, when I was 11 years old. I slept over at a friend's house. We play a penalty game. The loser has to sleep in my friend's sister's room, which had a lot of pink and flowery and girl stuff, and to us it was a big deal. She was staying with his aunt that night. My friend Mark ends up losing this penalty game. He goes to sleep there. We wake up the next morning. There is no one in my sister's room. The bed is empty. We can't find Mark anywhere. Even the police are called. I get screamed at by my parents for leaving him alone. No one ever saw Mark again. Mark's mom keeps harassing us, waiting for us after school, and shouting at us, accusing us of what happened. Eventually, her husband had to put her in a psychiatric hospital. A kid in the first neighborhood that I ever lived in as a child was found on top of a street lamp. He was alive, just a little shaken up, and the firefighters got him down. No one knew how he got up there, and probably still don't. The post was not only completely smooth and unsaleable, but it was also not near any trees that could be climbed to get up there. The kid was hugging onto the top and crying, and held on long enough to get rescued. The parents were investigated for child endangerment or something, but their story and clean history checked out. They were watching TV in their living room at 11 at night when they got a really weird feeling about their son and went to check on him. They go into his room, and he's gone. They searched the whole house before going outside, and that's when they heard him crying from somewhere. They followed the sound and found him on top of the streetlight, a few houses away. This might have been just a dream, but I remember being placed into my body. There was a fade in from black, and I had a third-person view of myself, talking to my mom in the living room. Then suddenly, it switched to first person, and I continued talking to my mom for a few more seconds before running off to my room to go play with my toys. Has anyone else had something like this happen? So this happened when I was really young. I was only 6 years old, and I was on vacation, and I befriended a girl of my age there. She says that she wants to show me something while we're playing, so I think, okay, sure. She takes me to this narrow path between the hotel we're staying at and some wall, and starts making faces. I think, what are you doing? She's acting like she's speaking and screaming, but I can't hear anything. And then I try to ask her what she's pulling, but I realize that I can't hear my voice either. I start to get a little overwhelmed and freak out a bit. We can still hear crickets and people talking in the distance. It's just us in this space that are mute. And it goes away when we move like a meter or two down the path. She says that she figured it out by accident, and after that we just kind of accept that there's a spot where we physically can't speak, and then we continue on to go play. It's just a really weird thing that I remember. So, what did you think of those stories? Let me know down in the comments. And I know this video was weak. This Yeah. This week's video is a little short, but I got it done, so I'm happy with it. I hope you are too. There are links in the description if you want to support the channel. And yeah, thank you for pulling up a stump. Thank you for sticking with the channel, and thank you for watching. I'll see you hopefully Sunday. Oh, and happy Easter, everybody.